Welcome to the Berke Report. I'm Berkeley Rhoads. Today we're going to interview Mr. Harry Houdini, the famous magician. Thank you. Mr. Houdini, welcome. Thank you for joining us today. Happy to be here. Thank you for having me. You've been called the king of handcuffs and the world's greatest mystifier. Why? Yes, I've been called many things, but I like to think of myself as an escape artist. I've always loved to entertain and amaze others and thought I could earn some money to help my poor sick mom. Wow, that's really interesting. When did you begin performing? I began in the 1800s and performed through the 1900s. Tell us how you got started. I was born in 1874 in Budapest, Hungary. And guess what? My real name was Eric Weiss. And when my family moved to America when I was very young, my father was a Jewish rabbi. Because my dad had 9 mouths to feed, 7 kids, and our parents, me and my brothers had to work instead of going to school. Life sure sounded tough back then. Yeah, but we were creative in how we made money. We earned a few pennies putting on circuses for our friends. It was hard but fun because I used to dress like a real circus performer and tumble and swing from ropes. Back then I was Eric, the Prince of the Air. You even had a stage name back when you were 8. How did you get better at your act? Well, my dad moved us all to New York in 1888 to find better work. I ended up making neckties in the factory, but I still found time to run, box, and swim. I really like sports and learning about magic. My hero was Eugene Robert Houdin. He was amazing. So you started acting like him? When I was 17, I had a magic trick partner named Jacob who worked with me at a factory. We had to come up with stage names for my act. And I came up with Houdini after my hero and Harry because it sounded like my nickname, Harry. We were the Brothers Houdini. Sounds really great. Not really. My dad died soon after and I promised to take care of my mother. So I seriously started performing magic shows with my brother Theo. What was your act like? We charmed snake, did card tricks, and made mango trees disappear out of nowhere, and of course, the metamorphosis. Whoa, what was the metamorphosis? I was tied up in a sack with a large trunk. Theo pulled a curtain in front of us and clapped 3 times. When the curtain opened, I was free, and Theo was in the trunk. It was pretty cool. The old escape and switch, huh? The audiences loved it, and I fell in love too. My dear Bess not only became my marriage partner, but my onstage partner too. What happened to Theo? He was the only person I didn't mind using a similar name in performing some of our tricks. So Bess and I traveled all over the state doing our magic shows. We worked in museums and circuses, so we hung out with a lot of strange and talented people. I tried to learn from them all. What happened to the metamorphosis? Oh, it was our best act. We got so good at escaping and switching places that we could do it all in 3 seconds. Then I started experimenting with handcuffs. I even went to the local police station and asked them to handcuff me so I could practice. Didn't you usually get handcuffed in almost all of your escapes? Yes, but we still weren't earning very much money. I almost gave up my stage career because I was having trouble supporting my wife and mother. How did you make it big then? In 1899, a theater manager named Beck saw us and set up shows in his theaters. But I had to continually wow the audiences. I started swallowing needles. I would swallow up to 150 needles and swallow a big thread. When I pulled out all the needles, they were threaded. What? How'd you do that? If I told you, it wouldn't be a trick anymore, would it? Well, can you at least give me a hint how you got out of those famous straitjackets? All I can say is that it involved some strap cutting. Ah, then what? By then, we were making pretty good money, and Bess and I started to tour Europe. The crowds loved the metamorphosis and my handcuff escapes. I even challenged audiences to bring me handcuffs because I could escape from anything, and really quickly too. Really? Anything? Well, one time, an audience member locked and chained me so tightly that I almost couldn't get out. Man, I was pretty beat up trying to get out of that one. The audience really went wild. I'm so good at getting chains on and off, I could even say the word click and chains will appear. Click. See? How long were you living in Europe? After performing in almost every country, we moved back to New York. We were able to buy a house big enough for my mother, brother, and sister to move in with us. Because of all the attention we got from newspapers and reporters, we were able to support everyone. How did you keep your act so fresh for the audiences? Oh, we did many different things. I still visited police stations to get handcuffed. I even stripped my clothes to show I wasn't hiding anything. I even jumped off bridges while handcuffed and escaped easily and quickly. And I suppose the crowds loved that too. I guess I made them real nervous because they always thought I would die trying to escape. It seemed this thrill was what the people wanted, so I devised the milk can escape. In this, I climbed into a big milk can filled with water. The lid was padlocked, and I was to escape. We had an assistant there with an axe in case we couldn't get out, but I always did. What amazed everyone was that the lid was still always closed and padlocked. How could you possibly top that? Well, I was the first person to fly an airplane in Australia. Did you know that? Cool, I didn't know that, but I did know about your famous water torture cell. Tell us about that. In 1912, I devised a trick in where I was lowered into a glass cell filled with water, upside down. This I escaped in 2 minutes while leaving the lid on the cell. Again, sounds like a fun time for you. No, not really, because my beloved mother died soon after that. I really missed her, and times were hard for me emotionally, but I knew I had to carry on. I added to my straitjacket escape by dangling 45 feet off of the ground. Washington, D.C., 100,000 people watched while I risked death. But you didn't just risk your life, did you? Oh, I've made an elephant disappear, and he didn't even know how I did it. I also made some movies while I battled a giant robot, survived a plane crash, and was a secret spy. And, of course, made very many escapes in movies, too. This is when you got really famous. Yes, I hung out with many famous people, too, but I helped uncover a bunch of fakes, too. I proved that a lot of people who used to speak to the dead were fakes. They were actually using some of the tricks I was using. So what did you do next? Well, the difficult tricks were getting hard for me to do, but I didn't want to stop. It was horrible, though, because I challenged some students to punch me in the stomach and not feel any pain. The guy punched me before I was ready, and I ended up with a burst appendix and an infection on it that made me go to the hospital. It was too late, though. Sadly, you died, didn't you? Yeah, I did, in October of 1926. But I'm still pretty popular. People still visit my grave and even do book reports about my life. Well, I want you to know, Mr. Houdini, that my great-grandfather Walter Rhoads actually saw you perform in Chicago. He often spoke of how amazing you were. As a matter of fact, our whole family are some of your biggest fans. Well, thank you, Berkeley Rhoads. I've always enjoyed entertaining people, and I'm glad I could entertain your great-grandfather. I enjoyed talking to you, but I need to disappear now. Click. Hey, where'd you go? Hey, I'm over here now. What are you doing over there? Now I'm over here. How'd you do that? I'm going to say bye, but before I go, I need to get this straitjacket off. Bye. Thanks for the interview, Berkeley. He's gone now. This interview was sponsored by this book, Harry Houdini, by Janet Peel. Bye.